How's it going, everyone? Got quite a lot to talk about in this video. Another batch of PlayStation Plus titles will be leaving the service. And you know what? Nothing too crazy getting pulled from next month's lineup. Some notable titles, don't get me wrong, but nothing blow away. And hopefully in April, the games coming into the service will be able to overtake or have more value than the games leaving the service. We'll talk about that. And also, you guys may be aware that the Dualsense Last of Us controller has recently come out. It is selling out everywhere. It is being scalped on eBay, but it's coming in and out of stock. I just want to make some notes on that at the end of this video. But right off the bat, 8 games are leaving PS Plus Extra and PS Plus Premium on April the 15th. These games include Animal Well, Tales of Kenzera Zhao, Nora, Play With Your Food, Deliver Us Mars, Miasma Chronicles, Stray Blade, Kenna Bridge of Spirits, and Slay the Spire. Like, there are some definite good games in there. Animal Well was actually a day one PlayStation Plus title. Those games always have a 1-year window, so I don't recall if Animal Well came out exactly a year ago, but generally speaking, that has been the case, that these games get added day one for 1 year, and then they get pulled after the agreement's over. Tales of Kenzera Zhao, I do believe that came out exactly a year ago come April, so yeah, that game getting pulled. Nor Play With Your Food, Deliver Us Mars. Miasma Chronicles is a game that I actually really liked. Very much a tactics-oriented game in the vein of like an XCOM. It was done by the people that brought you Mutant Year Zero Road to Eden. Miasma Chronicles had like a technical improvement in the sense that the visuals were really good. I really like the setting, the narrative. Those elements were really good until the end, where it just felt like the pacing went out the window. But I think that's a worthwhile game to play. Again, I had a fairly good time with it, and I would say a lot of you guys will end up enjoying it. Stray Blade, Kenna Bridge of Spirits is probably the most notable game leaving the service. That was a PlayStation 5 launch title, also available on the PlayStation 4, but that game was a technical showcase, I feel, on the PS5. Even though it was a cross-gen game, I mean, Horizon Forbidden West, I feel like, was a technical showcase as well, but you get the idea. It's a fairly short game as well, so as far as games that you can jump into and complete before they get pulled from Plus Extra, this is exactly one that I would say is a pretty good one from that standpoint, and it's not too lengthy, 10 to 12 hours at most, and you know, there's some replayability there for sure, but definitely for a single playthrough, it's not going to take you too long. And Slay the Spire, a game that I absolutely love and I've talked up quite a few times. I think Slay the Spire is absolutely great. We do know that Slay the Spire 2 is coming out on PC later this year. Who knows when it's going to be coming to PlayStation. I'm sure it'll be coming to PlayStation at some point, but they probably just want to get the PC release out and then figure it out from then on. But yeah, Slay the Spire getting pulled as well. These games are all available fairly cheap. Like, from a value standpoint, outside of Animal Well and probably Tales of Kenzera Zhao, since they've only been out for a year, all of them you can get pretty cheap. Miasma Chronicles you might have to pay a little bit for, around the $15 to $20 range. Miasma Chronicles also, even though it is like that XCOM style game, and maybe you would associate that with being a lengthier game, that's a game you can beat fairly quickly. Like 20 hours, I think you'll be able to get through Miasma Chronicles. So a lot of the games in this lineup as well, it's not like it's a JRPG. Like, I remember those lineups where you've got like Neo, The World Ends With You, and the Final Fantasy games getting pulled. It's hard to say, hey, go play this game because you've got a month to beat it, and yeah, a month will give you enough time to beat those games, but you gotta hunker down a lot of the times and play it fairly consistently. When you're talking about 50, 60, 70-hour games, you're really not dealing with any of that in this catalog lineup. So with that being said, those are the games getting pulled from the service. I thought the catalog update for the month of March was fairly weak. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown was a nice addition, but outside of that, like, UFC 5 is fine, but Captain Tsubasa, Gundam, Operation Toad Fairy, Arcade Paradise, Bang On Balls, I know that's been one that's been hotly anticipated to come to Plus Extra, but I'm sorry, that's not enough. You Suck at Parking as well, and then Siberia, The World Before. Those games have rolled out. We'll see what the catalog refresh is in April. Hopefully a little bit better than this, but we'll see about that. Premium also got the classic Armored Core games for what it's worth. Those are some decent additions. Alright, moving on from that, the DualSense wireless controller Last of Us limited edition controller is live on direct.playstation and walmart.com. It seems to be going in and out of stock. I don't know if this is a case of a lot of people put pre-orders in and then are canceling it, and then they decide to put those back on pre-order, or if they're just doing a wave system where it comes in and out of stock so people have multiple opportunities to buy it. I said before, I think this controller looks great. I know some people are down on it. Like, yo, I get people are down on Last of Us as an IP, so this being released right now, you know, it's catering towards the people that like the Last of Us video game franchise. I get that the HBO trailer or whatever broke records as far as HBO trailer views or whatever the stat was, but as far as the gaming reception of Last of Us, I don't think it's as strong as it was before. I don't think Last of Us is this beloved IP that it was. So I get the idea that people just want to crap on it on the sense that it's a Last of Us limited edition controller, but I think aesthetically it looks great. Like, yo, I'm down on Last of Us as well. I did not like Last of Us Part 2, but I can be honest about the fact that I think the controller looks pretty solid. $85 is a hefty price point, but it is getting bought up and it's getting relisted on eBay, but not for crazy prices. It's at 120, 115, 130 is the most expensive listing. Actually, I just saw one at 140, but you can find it at 115, 120, 125, like that range. 115 to 125, that's not that crazy of a markup given the markups we've seen in the past. Like, you saw what was going down with the PS5 30th anniversary. As far as a markup goes, after you pay eBay fees and shipping costs and just the hassle of going through this, how much of a profit are you really making? Yeah, you're making a little bit of a profit, but not that crazy of a profit by scalping Last of Us controllers. I just don't think Last of Us is that hot of an IP that you could be doing crazy scalping and make truckloads of cash. I don't think this is a Nintendo IP you're working with. You know, it's one thing when it's Pokemon, Zelda, and these franchises. Last of Us just ain't at that level. And I don't think it's gonna get back to that level where it's this incredibly revered IP. And it is just a DualSense controller at the end of the day with a marked up price point of $85 already. Well, I think it looks good. How many people are really in the market for it? I'm sure some people do want to get it, and I think it's a good looking controller, but I also don't think Last of Us is this IP that people are so excited about. I get that people do like it. There are absolutely people that like it, but it's not this unanimously beloved IP like, let's say, some of these Nintendo IPs are. Zelda, Mario, etc., etc. Last of Us really isn't that. And I would say, like, none of the PlayStation IPs outside of maybe God of War is at that level. Like, Horizon, very mixed. Spider-Man is getting more mixed with Spider-Man 2. Again, Horizon's very mixed. Last of Us is very mixed. Intergalactic is something they're gonna try to pop off with. That's very mixed. None of these PlayStation IPs, and I think it's for a wide variety of reasons, have this unanimous praise that maybe in the PlayStation 3 era, Last of Us certainly did. Uncharted certainly did. You know, Killzone. You know, Killzone had its naysayers, but I think Killzone was unanimously loved by the PlayStation community. I just don't think you see that in PlayStation anymore with a lot of their IPs. It's a lot more of this divisive reaction, and maybe that's just a product of the internet being so prominent and everybody having an opinion, but I do think there's something towards PlayStation IPs just not resonating as strongly with the core PlayStation audience, even though the sales numbers are incredibly good. Don't get me wrong, Spider-Man sold a ton of millions of copies. Last of Us 2 did incredibly well. I don't think you see the consequences of having a mixed reception until down the line, but not to get down on that diatribe right now. That'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts with Plus having a lot of games leaving the service, and also, if you do want that DualSense controller, just keep a lock on Walmart and direct.playstation.com. You probably will be able to get your hands on it if you're interested, but that's gonna do it for me. All your thoughts down below, sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.